What they do. This your boy DP.
This your girl T.
And we're the Geminis Gemz, representing for the Geminis across the world, giving our own Miami perspective.
For sure.
So you can follow us on all podcast platforms at Geminis-Gems.
Also follow us on Instagram, Geminis_Gems, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Geminis Gemz.
Hey, make sure you like, follow, you comment, and you subscribe. Yes. And make sure when you type it in, it's Geminis with the S, Gems with a Z. And what we do, T?
Drop them gems.
We drop them gems. What they do out there. How y'all doing? To all my aces and jewels, hope y'all doing well out there on this week or last week. However, y'all status is, hope y'all are doing well or will be better. Unfortunately, today, T isn't here. She's doing better, but still send your prayers her way. And today I brought on a special guest. And for the ones that do know and the ones that don't know, this is my baby brother right here.
What's going on, man?
What's going on? So what you go by, bro?
J-Clef.
J-Clef.
J-Clef
is
on the track.
J-Clef on the track. Don't take my saying, bro. Don't take my saying. J-Clef on the track. So yeah, my baby brother is here today. And I know a lot of people may not know who he is because they never seen him. But yeah, I do have another brother. And this is my baby brother right here. So today, I brought him on because we have a special topic that we want to talk about. And so I'm going to ask you this, bro. How can they reach out to you before we get started?
On Instagram and Twitter is I am J-Clef.
Okay.
And on YouTube and Facebook is Johnny J-Clef.
That's what's up. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this your boy DP. This my brother J-Clef. And we Gemini Gemz. Well, we drop them gems. And that's Geminis with the S.
S.
That's Gems with a Z.
Z.
And what we do?
Drop them gems.
We drop them gems. That means my brother watched the show.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that means straight up support from the fam.
Straight up.
Fire. That's what I'm talking. Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. Yeah. So today we're coming with the topic of conversation. And in relationships, are we having conversations or are we relating? Because like in a relationship, I personally feel like more people are relating than having conversation. For example, the only example I can use and think of is if I meet someone and when I first meet them, I say, well, I like music. That person say, I like music too. You know, or I like watching this show. Or I like watching that show too. Or I like going to church. I like to go to church too. But beyond that point of relating on different, let's say, elements of a relationship, we actually don't have conversations.
Right.
Or we don't get into deeper conversations on different, let's say, variations of topics.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And those topics may, let's say, those topics may be, you know, how do you feel about pregnancy? How do you feel about marriage? How do you feel about, you know, clothing, what you should wear and what you shouldn't wear?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to ping it over here to my brother, right? And I'm going to let him get started. And as he gets started, we're just going to go back and forth like we regularly do on this show. And I'm going to just let him have it, right? So where you want to get started at, bro? Like, how do you want to do this thing?
So
let's go. Let's go.
In in the topic of conversation, are we having conversations or relations? I think the answer to that question it's pretty simple. Like you said, we aren't having those conversations, but I think the reason why is more so where the debate is.
Okay.
So I have the definition of communication here.
Okay.
It says the imparting or interchange of thoughts, opinions, or information by speech, writing, or signs. There's two forms of communication, verbal and nonverbal. So you have expressing yourself through words, like the definition was saying, and then nonverbal, hugging, touching, looking can even be a form of communication.
Okay.
I think I have two different avenues to take with this.
Okay.
And it's a younger age to like mid-age answer.
Okay.
And then a older age to like upper mid-age, or upper mid-age to older age answer.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with the older age answer first because it's a little more simple.
Right. Not as complex.
Not as complex.
Yes.
I think
that
a lot of people believe that once you reach, I'll say, marriage, as far as older age or so many years in a relationship, that the work just stops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think people understand that the longer you're in this relationship, you have to continuously put in work.
Exactly.
Every single day.
Yes.
The wedding is not the peak.
Right.
Like a lot of people
Or the stopping point.
Or the stopping point.
Yes.
You have not reached the top. There is more levels of love. You can go deeper.
That's what's up.
You can have more conversations.
I'm over here losing it.
So that's what I believe. There are some avenues that you can explore through conversation. We are very surface level. It's almost like we're scared to go deeper because we are afraid of what we will uncover about ourselves.
Exactly, yes.
In these conversations. Yeah. And we don't understand that that's what we actually need to be truly happy.
Yes.
You need to uncover whatever the true foundation of yourself is. Okay. And then when you approach someone else, they need to also be able to do the same. Exactly. And then y'all can grow together at that point.
Let me add this in real quick. So to refer to what you're saying, what about secrets? Because the way that you're explaining it is that if we do not expose our true self or deal with certain issues within ourselves first, then when we go to the next or go into a relationship, there's going to be a stagnant type of building of a relationship. So let's say we're trying to lay down the foundation, right, in a relationship, and as we begin to build, me and my partner, right, there's going to be a certain place when we get to the windows, let's say, the measurements, it won't be able to fit because I haven't dealt with the outlay of the window. You get what I'm saying? So now going into the relationship, because I haven't really dealt with the issues at hand within myself, secrets, right, that I don't want to expose. Right. Now, when we hit a certain part of our relationship, there's a stagnant place that, I don't want to reveal the truth. I don't want to say the truth. So then the relationship cannot finish building. How do you feel about that?
So in my notes, I have here, one of the reasons we don't have the conversation is what we feel versus how we look to the public. Okay. So it's so interesting that you brought up secrets. Right. Because why do you have a secret? Because you worried about how someone else will feel about your secret. Right. But if I'm trying to find somebody to spend the rest of my life with, that I'm being open with, why am I going to keep a secret? If I have this secret, let's say, whatever the secret may be, right? Let's say, for example, if I have a secret and I come into this situation and I let you know what my secret is, if that is a breaking point for you, perfect. Right. You're not the person I need to be with anyway.
Ooh, fire.
Right?
Fire.
That's time that doesn't need to be wasted with you anyway if you cannot handle who I truly am.
Yes.
I need to go to the person that can handle that.
Exactly.
That was my situation now. So I'm married, right? And with my wife, I came into this situation like, I'm going to tell you everything about me.
That's what's up.
The bad stuff, the good stuff. If you can handle it, we can move forward together.
Right.
If you can't, tell me now, because I will not waste my time.
Right.
And I will find the woman that can handle it.
Right. Right.
There's somebody out there for everybody.
So just to add, or just to hit you with another one, that has to deal with maturity.
Right.
Because a lot of people, they want relationships, but they are not mature enough to handle a relationship. So let's say you have a whole list of your perfect guy or the perfect woman. And then once you encounter that person, what ends up happening is they end up being too good. You get what I'm saying? Too good enough for you, and you don't know how to deal with those. So when certain issues and situations occur, you cannot even handle it. But then you pray for that good individual, that perfect guy. And when they come knocking at your door, you can't handle the issues that comes along with it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I just wanted to throw that at you. And
so with you saying maturity, I think that connects to us not knowing who we really are kind of deep down on the inside, which goes to my younger age answer.
Okay.
And my younger age answer.
I know how to build these segues, boy.
Right? Good night. Like you done read my notes. My younger age answer is more of an identity crisis. Follow me.
Yes, I am.
Due to social media.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So you look on social media, you see a rapper with a video vixen. You see a baseball player with a model.
Right.
You see a football player with this girl. You see, what you don't see anymore is the Jay and Beyonce, the Will and Jada, those kind of pinpoint marriages that everybody used to look to.
Right.
Now you see these quick turnaround relationships that's being pushed in the media.
Right.
You have these young kids that's growing up on social media.
Gotcha.
That's what they're seeing.
Yes.
That's all they know as relationships.
Yep.
And none of it is successful.
Right.
So in their mind, why am I wasting my time trying to get married or anything like that?
Right.
When that stuff is not going to be successful
at
all.
I love this. Let me drop another one.
So to me, when it comes to trying to find someone, if I'm looking on social media, let's say, and I like the woman that Chris Brown is with.
Right.
That's the woman I want to be with.
Okay.
Chris Brown got her.
Yeah.
So I need to be Chris Brown in order to get a woman like that.
Yeah.
Right? If I go up to a woman being like I'm Chris Brown, it'll work. I'll get the relation. Right. But the problem after that is I don't know who Chris Brown really is.
Right.
So when it's time to deal with some real life situations, I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
And that's the immaturity in it, because I don't know who I am, because I don't feel like I can go and get that woman. I feel like I have to be somebody that I'm not in order to get that.
Gotcha.
And it's the same way for females. They trying to be the video vixen. Everybody want to be Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, all of that stuff. But you don't know what to do after the looks.
Yes. That's why I say sometimes we know how to put on.
Right.
We know how to put on basically from what we see, but we don't know the work it takes in order to sustain a great relationship.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like what our grandparents have endured over so long, far as being with each other, how they was able to just work together at many different, let's say, stages of their relationship. So once they got to get in the house, they know what it took to actually pay off the house, or what it took to sustain the house together. You get what I'm saying? Like I was just watching something not too long ago where, of course, women feel nowadays that they shouldn't have to bring nothing but themselves to the table. You get what I'm saying? But then what about actually making a house a home, but also contributing so that we can build for our kids and our legacy? You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm listen, bro, you over here dropping some gems. You igniting a lot within the conversation. So yeah, bro, just go ahead and continue.
Another thing I have here is perceived narratives.
Okay.
Right. So you come into a situation. I have here examples like all men are trash.
Okay.
Women just want your money.
Right.
Men feel inferior to women who make more money than men.
Right.
Right. So if you come into, let's say, a situation already from a female's perspective, man, most men are trash. So this probably won't even last long.
Right.
You not even giving it a chance.
Yes.
You not even having the conversation to see what this man is really like.
Right.
You're not even opening yourself up to receive him. You've already closed the door without even knowing it consciously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all will never be able to work anywhere because he has to come in, break down walls.
Right.
And then build back up.
Right.
Versus just starting from
fresh,
building up.
Right.
This is who I let the man say, listen, I don't do too good with women that make more money. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move on to the next. Don't come in already like he gonna have a problem that I make more money. Cause soon as something go wrong, you're gonna say, I knew you had a problem with me making more money. He gonna be like, what? When did I say it?
Right.
And now that's an argument that didn't even need to be had versus something that could have been dealt with from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I told my wife when we first started dealing with each other, listen, we are going to communicate.
Yes.
I'm not going to argue.
Right.
I'm not going to do nothing.
That's how daddy is.
What? We are going to communicate. If I feel some type of way, I'm going to tell you what's going on with me, what I'm thinking about, what I saw, all that stuff. Whether this breaks you, whether this hurts you or not,
right? You
need to know what's going on with me.
Exactly.
Because you need to deal with these feelings.
Right.
And now we need to figure out how we're going to move on from there.
A resolution.
Right. If we argue, we will never get anywhere. And this relationship will eventually die.
Yes.
Versus you coming to me as soon as you, Johnny, I didn't like how you put your phone over there to the left. Okay.
Tell me that.
Don't let me do it 4 times.
Yes.
And now you coming to me a month later, now we arguing when you could have told me the first. No.
Yes.
That's not how this going. I told my wife, if we got to argue, then we need to reevaluate the relationship.
Situation.
Because if I get to the point, you are a woman. If I get to the point as a man where I am yelling and raising my voice at you, this is an issue past whatever this is we arguing about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Internal,
Because you could have came to me, we could have sat down like 2 adults that we are.
Exactly.
And talked.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Talked it out, came to a solution, came to some type of compromise since we are married and then moving forward from there.
Okay, so to just say this, right? And just to ask your opinion, you know how you can have a conversation with a person, and as you're having that conversation with them, they interject with something that has nothing to do with the actual topic, which ignites the argument because they were so frustrated that the phone was to the left that when y'all start arguing over the fact that the dishes wasn't clean, you get what I'm saying? Well, the conversation started off with the dishes wasn't clean because the plate irritated her, all because of the phone being to the left. As an example, how come, or not how come, but how can we deal with the fact that bringing other topics into a topic, let's say avoid the whole argument? You get what I'm saying? Are you trying to follow?
Yeah, I think I'm following you. I think I'm following you pretty much.
Because this happens. You can be in a relationship with somebody and they're irritated. Let's say they was irritated by something you did prior to, but they didn't say anything. This is why I believe we should have the conversation, right? So they're irritated before, and then y'all jump in the car and now y'all get to a red light. Oh, you should have ran that red. Come on, man. I couldn't have ran that red light. Clearly you was upset about something else that you mad at, that I didn't run the red light. That doesn't make sense. So then I ask, what is the issue? What's the conflict? What is the situation? Oh, nothing. So how to get rid of that? I guess this is my point. How to get rid of that nothing type of attitude or the nonchalant type of attitude or deal with it.
So this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So in my opinion, stuff like that, to me, I dealt with stuff like that, I'm going to say more so towards the beginning. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I expressed to her that's those type of situations is exactly what I didn't want happening.
Right.
I don't want you to be upset with something for a month and then something as little as that sparks a whole argument.
Right.
When that original issue we could have dealt with a month ago and we could have been sitting at this red light fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that has to be dealt with from the beginning. Listen, basically the same thing. If you have an issue with something, tell me at the moment.
At the moment. That's okay. That's what I'm getting to.
When it comes up,
right,
and that's not it, okay, that's strike one. I'm not dealing with this.
Yes.
Either next time, we might need to end things. Because I'm not trying to be in no relationship where there's a constant back and forth. If you can't, because believe me, there's a woman out there that will do what you ask.
Yeah.
That will
with no problem.
With no problem, because not only is the headache no longer on you, but now she has no headache.
Right.
When y'all deal with communication in relationships is so powerful.
Yes.
Like so powerful. I don't think people understand. Even like when you and Drika was talking about love languages. Love languages is still verbal and nonverbal communication.
Yes.
Touch. Words of affirmation. It's all communication.
Right.
Relationships cannot last without it.
Right.
Without great communication.
Right.
Not just I want some breakfast. Can you cook for me? That's not communication.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But to make sense of it, how you have that conversation is to say, "Hey, babe," or "Hey, babe, I want some breakfast. Could you make grits, eggs, and bacon?" You get what I'm saying? And then make sure you put that little special sauce that you put in, right? Then, okay, babe, I'll do it for you. And then it can be a continuation because you have to have some type of building point, right? So building points of having having conversations can start somewhere. Because some people, they lost. You get what I'm saying? They think that's a form of communication. But from that point, how do you build conversations with individuals in your relationship?
I think you just have to start. It's almost like you won't start a business because you waiting to get everything perfect in order to start.
Right.
You just have to start.
Right.
You have to literally start saying anything. Babe, you know what happened to me? I was driving by Home Depot.
Yep.
And I saw, and you know what came to my mind? You know what I'm saying? It's a little deeper than just what you saw. You know what I thought about? And you start expressing those thoughts. You start expressing how you felt in the moment.
Right.
And then that's going to start making those conversations a lot easier because we don't want to talk about how we feel when things happen.
Right.
We just talk about what happened.
Right. Or we just really highlight the negative of the day.
Right.
Instead of that good feeling let that communicate to that partner, that good feeling at the time. Like how you said, you may have saw something that sparked the interest into you investing or whatever the trigger may lead to. That's what you're sitting up there communicating about to your partner. While you get your notes together, what I was thinking about was actually having a listening ear and not hearing. I think there's a way to understand your partner as they communicate, but you have to learn how to listen to the person and not hear what they're saying. Hearing, this is how I think of it. Hearing is something that goes through your ear and comes out, right? Straight shot, right? But listening is like this. It goes through your ear, rambles in your brain, and then comes out. When it comes out with responding to the person and in context of what the person is conveying to you. You get what I'm saying? So I feel as though we don't know how to listen Listening isn't interrupting the individual, right? Because you just got to get it out. It's actually sitting up there, let them complete their sentence, right? All the way. And even if you have like for sometimes for me, I may not complete my full thought right then and there because I'm trying to get it together as it's coming. But that's just learning how to listen to your partner, learning their style of communicating or their way of patterns of talking. Right. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm sitting up there and I'm trying to convey a message, the only way that I'll be able to convey it is by you listening, being patient with me doing this conversation and hear me all the way out. Even if you got to get a notepad and write it down, you get what I'm saying? We're going to talk about that later. You could get the notepad and write it down. Or another way, I'm going to just go ahead and add this instead of waiting, sitting down and writing notes. So I learned this from something I was watching, like a documentary or something like that, where I will put like little stickies throughout the house. One time I was dating someone and I started putting stickies around the house. And the only way that, because I felt like I wasn't getting through to the person by, communicating with them. So what I did was I put a sticky, because I knew they were going to brush their teeth. So I put it on the mirror in the bathroom. And then I knew they was going to go for the brush inside of the drawer. So I put a sticky on that. And then I had put a sticky in the car. So that about time she gets to the car, she'll be ready to have this conversation. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So that's another way of communicating to your partner. So I'm going to just throw it right back to you because, it's less of me talking and more of you talking.
Yeah, I agree with that. Listening to me is more to understand, mm-hmm. to comprehend, mm-hmm. and then hearing is definitely just sounds in your ear.
Right.
So actually I want to have a respond to what you're saying, mm-hmm. because this is something that kind of goes on too with me, as far as I would say something and it would be taken the wrong way or because of how I'm saying it. Mm-hmm. I do think since women are a little bit more emotional, mm-hmm. the fact that we are saying something kind of down to them, mm-hmm. I don't like how you did, that's something that women just don't want to hear.
Right.
At any stage in a relationship.
Okay.
I don't like how.
Okay.
So they already, as soon as you say that, they're on the defensive. Mm-hmm. They're ready to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. But one thing I tell my wife is, if you don't like the way I say something or how I said it, again, tell me in that moment.
Yeah.
I think one thing we underestimate about communication and how powerful it can be is saying something at that moment. I understand. I think the two people need to approach the conversation in a way of, we are about to sit down and have an adult conversation.
Yes.
We're not going to argue.
Right.
And set those parameters first.
Right.
So whatever I say to you, mm-hmm. I'm saying it so we can continue to build.
Right.
I'm not trying to start an argument and have us go backwards.
Right.
I'm trying to work towards a solution.
Yes.
So if you come together mm-hmm. and believe that both of you mm-hmm. are always trying to work towards a solution, you're trying to continue the relationship, mm-hmm. keep the marriage going.
Yep.
I think that way it'll always be more of a listening ear mm-hmm. than just hearing.
Right.
I think when you're hearing, at the point where, let's say she's in the kitchen washing dishes and you on the couch and she fussing and you just scrolling through Instagram, not even paying attention, it's more of an issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but I
So I'm gonna go to my next little point: the reaction to the conversation and responding to the conversation. So I learned that over the years of having conversations with different people that I had relationship, different women I had relationship, or just interpersonal relationships that I have had, that a lot of people just know how to react. They don't know how to respond. Same thing with the listening and the hearing. Basically, you need to learn how to digest what the person is saying. Because if you don't, your response may be the wrong response, right? Or your reaction, your response will be a reaction and not a response.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, we're just going to refer to a domestic violence type case, right? So we're going to just throw a situation out there, which is like someone finding out that the person is cheating, right? And I'm going to give different examples of other friends I've heard and individuals that I heard over the years. You had two different responses. You had one reaction and you had one response. Okay. So a reaction is coming home to the individual cheating or seeing the individual out and they're cheating and being with somebody. And the first thing you do is react. This the situation. You react to the situation. So you grab a weapon, you storm in, and let's say you hit the person first and then you stab the person. Or you on the streets and you end up pistol whipping the girl, right? Or you end up hitting the girl. Now, the reason why, and I understand the crime of passion, right? Because those things do happen. But there's a way to still know how to deal with it. So I'm going to bring a situation that happened and occurred to me. Actually, I saw the girl that I was dating with another guy, right? And when I saw it, I did not approach the guy. I did not even say nothing to the guy because my issue wasn't with the guy, right? My issue was with her. Now, mind you, the individual was already changing up and I was pointing at the different signs, but they still lied, right? So what I did, I responded to the situation. I found out, the person was there. So I approached her. You get what I'm saying? Hey, listen, was this guy at your place? The first reaction was, no. I said, come on, stop lying because I know the truth.
Yeah.
Now it's time for you to tell me the truth because you already been acting different. You've been texting different. You've been moving a little bit different. So I'm going to respond this way. Tell me the truth so I can leave you alone. You get what I'm saying? So I've heard like different guys, they did some things that you be like, what? Now they actually caught the person in the act. I only caught the person at the house. I don't know what they were doing. And I'm not going to even take my mind there. Right. You get what I'm saying? Because I may react different. Right. But I wanted to respond well to this situation. So going to other people examples where when they caught him, they just literally was like, listen, get all your stuff and go. They had their pistol in their hand. So the guy wouldn't try to attempt to come at him. You get what I'm saying? So he was like, listen, y'all get all y'all stuff and you get everything every hair, speck of hair. Don't take none of my stuff. Right? Don't take none of the stuff I bought you. No rings, no jewelry, no nothing, no shoes, red bottom shoes, all that stuff. Get out. And I was like, man, that's a man knowing how to respond. Yeah. I'm going to give you another example. There was a guy knew his girl was acting weird. So what he did was he put a little device in the car. And he put a device in the car and he found out the device was a recording device. So he put it in the car. He let her drive around and then he ended up listening to it later. He found out that she had already planned a trip to go out of town. So what he ended up doing was he let her go because she came to him. Oh, my auntie passed. She came with a whole lie, whole spill. Oh, my auntie passed. Listen, you only got two aunties and both of them I saw last week. So how this auntie that just appeared out of town end up passing and now you gotta go? So he said, okay, no problem. He gave her money. Here you go. But what happened was it was a whole dude that she was going to see. So he sent her off. Mind you, they were staying together. What he did was he cleared the whole house of his things. He left those things were like the TVs and all that stuff. He left that there. So once he dropped her off to the airport, he went home. He cleared it all out. He moved into another spot. She comes back in. He changed his number, changed his location, changed his car. So she couldn't find that guy like nowhere. Wow. Now, mind you, he was helping her out with her bills. Basically, he had enough money to pay all her bills and more. So he did everything. Bought a new washer, dryer, put a down payment on the car, probably paying the car note and all of that stuff. But she just wanted to do her thing. So she ended up going off. And when she went off, he did his thing and he cleared it out and he just moved on. And she was just in a frenzy. So I said to myself, that's a good response, not a good reaction. Because the reaction would have been, girl,
yeah.
You cheating on me and I'm doing all of this stuff. He was like, you know what? Let me respond better than that. Let me just cut this all the way off so you can feel it. So the reason why I just went on ahead and went through all of that just to get your opinion about how to react and to respond. And how do you feel about it?
So in my opinion, reacting is probably never good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always emotional.
Gotcha.
And you kind of want to think about consequences before you react emotionally. To me, so when me and my wife was talking one day and I told her, if you ever see somebody that you want and you want to go out and do your thing, tell me. And we can end this right now. And you can go do your thing. I am not here to hold you back.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Either you want something serious and exclusive with me, or you don't. I think people overcomplicate relationships and marriage. It's so simple.
I agree.
Either you want this or you don't. And that's why I don't understand why cheating is at an all-time high. When you can go into situations, especially nowadays, where polyamorous relationships is growing to a bigger thing, you can go into a situation, not that I condone that, you can go into a situation saying, hey, listen, I'm just trying to have fun. I don't want nothing serious right now. I'm saying, and you'll be surprised how many people will probably be down with that.
Yeah, but then what ends up happening is once you set that parameters of not being so serious, they make it serious. You get what I'm saying? As far as when it comes down to relationships, right? So a lot of people, they feel as though like, okay, yeah, it's fun in the interim, but then 2 weeks later, I want to make this exclusive.
Right. And that's where communication comes in. So at the moment whether the male or female feels like, okay, I want to make this exclusive, it's time to sit down and have another conversation.
Right.
I bet they still having relations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, are we still in the same spot? Because when one elevates to relationship status, that's when problems start to happen.
Right.
Because the other one isn't there.
Right.
Let's have this conversation. Are you willing to come where I am? Is this starting to mean more to you like it is to me? If not, we need to cut it now before you get to love and in love and anything
all
deeper,
by yourself.
All by yourself. And now I'm looked at as this horrible guy or woman when that shouldn't be the case. When I didn't even know this was going on.
Right.
Now my name in the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why everything always goes back to that communication of as soon as you feel it, even if it comes and goes away, the fact that that little bit of it coming means it's going to come a little longer the next time, and it's going to stay a little longer the next time. So you deal with it as soon as it happens.
Right. So setting the parameters in that situation. So I'm a get on this point where being honest is so important in communicating and not hiding your feelings. Like at no point that I can trust the individual to play out what we just conversated about. So the honesty, like, how do you feel about being totally, now I know my opinion about it, right? Mm-hmm. But just being totally honest, like brutally honest. How do you feel about that when it comes down to relationships?
I feel like that's what's needed.
Yeah.
That's how that goes back to saying how you feel and not necessarily worrying about how it's going to make. I mean, you don't want to be hurtful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you want to express your raw feelings.
Yes.
You know, when me and my wife first started dealing with each other, we both wasn't ready for a relationship. Okay. We came into it. Listen, I'm not trying to get nothing serious. She got there before I did.
Okay.
And certain situations were starting to happen, like at work. We worked together. A situation would happen and she would come to me emotional. Hold up, bro. First of all, we're not together, number one. Right? Number two, if somebody else is telling you something that's going on with me, don't come to me upset already.
Right.
Because it's me and you that's dealing with each other. You come to me and you hear my side and then decide whether you're going to get upset.
Right.
Don't come to me upset.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have to communicate first.
Right.
Be honest. If what I'm doing is wrong, then tell me you don't like what I'm doing.
Right.
You know
don't be upset.
But don't be upset. We have to come to each other with a clear mind. That's that preconceived narrative, that preconceived emotions, all that stuff. You coming in already closed down.
Yes.
So we're never going to find a solution because every time I say something, it's going to be, but this, but because what's playing in your mind is what everybody else said, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So what about, I put this down as well, writing notes, because some people are not so much of, like I say, men are not wordy. You get what I'm saying? They probably don't like to write anyway. But what about writing your emotions down to spark the conversation? Because everything, I mean, eventually you have to mature to to talking status, right? Because you have to communicate verbally.
Right.
But the people that is nonverbal, you get what I'm saying? And they should, let me just write something, or they don't think to how can I communicate to that that individual. What about writing notes? Because I put down writing love notes. Some people can write down love notes, or they can just write down an idea and put it down. Like when I was talking about the sticky notes around because we eventually had the conversation. And the only way I was able to have the conversation with the person is when they got in the car, because they was by themselves. They didn't have to worry about seeing my facial expression and all of that stuff, or me just talking with my hands. So they was able to be in their own little element, but I had to put the note in the car first in order for them to see how I want to get your perspective on that.
I think that's great. I think, however, if you have to come up with creative ways to have the conversation, however the conversation is had, as long as it's had.
Gotcha.
Whether if you have to write a song, if you got to draw a picture, whatever it is that you have to do that makes you comfortable.
Okay, I love it.
Put forth the effort.
Right.
I think that's what matters. Yesterday, my wife was telling me, something I did 2 days ago. Listen, you did this, and I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I didn't really like how it made me feel when you said it. Okay, I can correct it. I'm not upset that it took you 2 days, because at least you said something, and you're not coming at me. Well, you said, but you came to me calm. You expressed how you felt. You expressed how it made you feel, what I said, and then I was able to correct it. We talked about it. It was over. Literally, we pulled into the parking lot at Publix. We sat in the car for maybe about 3 or 4 minutes, talked about it, and got out, went in Publix, did what we had to do, and it was over.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we dealt with the issue. However, she don't come to me like I come to her, because when she said it, I would have said something right then.
Right.
Nah, I don't like how you said that. What you explain that a little further?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But at least she did say something.
Now, what I do is not, let's say we out and I get the private atmosphere, right? But what are we out in public? Because for me, when I'm out in public and I want to convey to the person how I'm feeling because they did something I did not like, what I would do is actually wait till we get to the car. Because I'm not into the embarrassment of anybody. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather be embarrassed than anybody else. So I wouldn't embarrass you in front of your friends, your family, or anything like that, or publicly. Just won't. What I would do is get you hide in the car, and I'm going to let you have it.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I learned this too. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Because that's literally what I was just about to say.
Right? My bad, I'm over there peeping. Right? But it's just how you say it. Sometimes I have to learn not to say it in a brutal way, right? I want to say it, or a raw way, right? I don't want to say it too tough, too rough. Oh, you're too rough with your words, right? But how can I convey a point without using my tone, my words? So it's using the tone, right? So it's using the tone and texture of my, let's say my voice to not be, right? Or just be polite, just really lay back. Sometimes I would even put myself in a submissive position. So example, if we're standing up, right? And we're about to have a conversation and it may go left, I say to myself, let me sit down while that person stands up, right? So that I can sit up there and give you the floor so that you can feel like you have the power as much as me. Like we're meeting 50-50.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what I would do in certain scenarios like that. What about you, bro?
So with that, I think with it being a tone issue, if you know that that's an issue, you won't know until, let me back up. I'm going to say you won't know that that's an issue until someone brings it up to you.
Right.
So to you, this is just how you approach a problem.
Okay.
Right. So it's on the other spouse to make that point. Hey, Dwayne, listen, when you talk to me like I'm 3 years old, and I don't like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now that she has voiced that opinion to you, it is now on you to make a conscious effort every time y'all speak to take a deep breath before y'all start.
Right.
To take a walk around the block to calm yourself. So that way when you approach it, you won't approach with that harsh tone.
Right.
I believe communication, like I was saying before, is an ongoing process.
Yes.
It gets better as time goes, as long as you both put forth that effort. But if she's like, oh, Dwayne, I don't like you. Man, you just soft. Blah, blah, blah. Whoa. Right. You know? That you really don't want to approach it. That is just poor communication habits.
Right.
Basically. And the relationship is not going to last.
Okay. So now I'm going to move into a more exclusive type of topic, romantic. Having intimacy and being able to convey it to your partner. Now, I believe in, because I really don't, let's say, talk about intimacy really until we are like really intimate, not meaning in the position, but let's say we're just by ourselves and I will spark up the conversation. What do you like? If we're talking about positions or whatever may be had far as like what that person likes. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to say it first. So what I do is just I ask the question, and then, and I know that some people feel as though like they don't want to ask about the person's past, but I say how to avoid that is ask the do's and don'ts, right? What is it that you do like? Because some people are more visual people. Some people, again, we just learned talking about conversations, but some people visual, some people are like, you got to show me, and for me to really know, or you have to tell me. Some people like to hear, some people like to feel, some people like foreplay. Some people love foreplay, and it's for you to communicate that. And some people feel like they are afraid to, and my thing is, while you're in a relationship and you're unable to communicate on the intimacy in as far as the relationship, I just wanted to throw that because I put that in my little notes.
I think intimacy communication could stem from selfishness.
Okay.
So a lot of people go into relations or intimacy or whatever more so worried about them. Listen, I like this. I like this. I want you to do this to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it can end bad, basically.
Right.
You run into a situation where that becomes kind of a sketchy topic for people because it's like, this always ends up going nowhere for me. But when you approach it basically how you do, what do you like? Listen, I seen this today. How do you feel about that? I like this. How do you feel about that?
Right.
Kind of always including them in everything. I think that's kind of the way to go about it. Then you really figure out, okay, do we mesh this way or not? Because that is important in a relationship.
Right.
As much as we try to run away from it, intimacy, romanticism, all that stuff is very important.
Right.
And finding out what they like and what they don't like is also very important. You'll be surprised if you give how much you receive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You will be surprised.
Right.
Versus you just sitting back and receiving, and then when you stop receiving, now you upset. You don't know what's going on. Blah. You know what I'm saying? It's all about that initial communication, finding out from both ways, both sides, what we like, what we don't like. Even if it's something they said they don't like, but you like, revisit it a couple months later.
Right.
You never know.
Right. The kinkiness. Constant communication at different points, or even communicating after.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
How did that make you feel?
Right. Or teach me. You know, some people just think that they're so dominant and I got this.
Yeah.
You know, and I know what to do.
Yeah.
And literally you don't. You get what I'm saying? So then it's how to do it without making the person feel uncomfortable.
One thing is, too, as many people as we see today that look alike, nobody is the same.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So everybody nowadays look the same versus how we dress, what we say, how we talk, all that stuff may look the same. But then when you get behind closed doors, nobody is the same, which is why that communication is so important.
Facts.
Because I want to deal with you and who you are. I don't want to deal with your mom and your aunt and your friend and all these people, because that's not who you are.
So I got something for that. I also written down privacy, keeping things private, you know, far as the communication, and not conveying or not even letting social media know. Right. So I feel as though, like, in relationships, we put too much out there for everyone to know our business and knowing what's going on in our own household, and we don't know how to keep that thing private, and then don't understand why a person don't want to grow with you because you tell it all.
Right.
You know, the memes, people understand that. The subliminals, the people understand those things, right? So keeping it private, I feel as though, like, for example, we was talking about the intimacy. A person being intimate, and then you go in the post, oh, this person don't know what they doing. Why? How come you can communicate those things on social media, but then don't tell your own partner? What type of person are you as an individual that cannot just, communicate that to? Why would you go to social media? You get what I'm saying? And just put that out there. So that's what I end up putting, not posting things on social media, and just keeping that thing private within, like, us, like me, you, and Stephen, right? It's certain things we're just not going to let the world know at all. We was always like that.
Always.
Right? So it was times that you and I and Stephen would be in the room together, or not in the room, but in the hallway, right? And we would just converse and have that conversation. But when we leave from the house, right, nobody know that we had a conversation, that we even know what's going on. We letting each other know what's happening. You have a younger version. I'm the oldest. Stephen has his version, and we all mush it together. So, for example, if we would go to the center, right, even though we are not, with each other, let's say, that particular day, when our friends are around, we talk one way, right? But then when they leave, we talk a whole different way. You get what I'm saying? Because we would rather keep certain things to ourselves. Right. You get what I'm saying? Instead of letting everybody know our business. Right. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, how you feel about the keeping things private?
I back to the social media thing. I think social media gives us a false sense of like an inner circle almost. Facts. You have these supporters, right? When you get a new car, they in your comment section. You know what I'm saying? You get a new job, they in your comment section rooting you on. Right. So you feel the need to tell them a little bit more and a little bit more.
You need validation at this point.
Right. And that's where the issue becomes. Now you putting everything up on social media, because before social media, you were running your friends. You were running your homeboys, your homegirl. Listen, he wasn't this. Listen, she wasn't all that. You don't do that no more. Now you run the social media. It's quicker. Right. Soon as he leave out your presence, you write the Twitter, you write the Instagram, because it's quicker. You got to tell somebody. Gossiping, but got to tell somebody what's going on. Right. You know, I think that is it, boys. Listen, social media, as good as it has been for entrepreneurs and businesses, it has been horrible for human nature.
Yeah, for individuals, right? Yes, because it builds a false hope. It builds a false reality too.
And them same people that you running and telling your business about will flip on you in a second. Facts. And you're not even thinking about
Facts.
That's that one that you doing wrong, throwing his name in the dirt or her name or whatever, right, is the one that's trying to hold you down.
So facts. Can't even get it out fast enough. Facts, right? So yeah, I definitely concur. Why run to social media with it? Now I put some key elements to conversation. Just asking the question, informing your partner, being assertive when it comes down to how you feel, you know, just sticking to the point, having a purpose of why you're saying what you're saying. You need to summarize your situation or summarize the topic and then check back in. You get what I'm saying? Building. You have to build, I say build a foundation of conversation. Also, you have to include the individual, which you had spoke on earlier. I think it put evaluating. Okay, supporting what the other individual is saying. I can't even read my own handwriting just now, right? Supporting the individual and what they're saying. When you do get to a disagreement, how to come from the disagreement to agree. Now, some people say, just to say this, some people say, I disagree to agree, right? But in relationships, I feel that you have to agree in order to make the relationship function, right? Continuously. I think there's a scripture, and I may just mess up this scripture, but how two can be of one unless they agree, if that's how that goes. But basically, how can we be in the same household together unless we agree? Right. You get what I'm saying? So we cannot grow unless we agree. I know I brutalized that scripture, but basically, and just to get your opinion about that statement.
I think compromising needs to become more normal in relationships. Once you get into something, you have to realize it's two people and it's no longer just you by yourself. Right. So selfishness and always wanting your way kind of needs to take a back seat. Yeah. And you need to compromise on a lot of things. So if you go into a store to buy a couch and you want a blue couch, but she wants a yellow couch, but y'all both like the gray couch, get the gray couch. Right. It's not, we don't have to get the yellow. Why would you want a yellow couch and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do all of that. All that is so unnecessary. Right. I don't think we should get the yellow couch. Right. But this gray couch, the gray couch, let's get the gray couch.
There you go.
Easy.
Ooh. That's how. But some women just make it so complicated.
I agree.
And then guys do too, because they want their way. Because they couldn't have their way about something else that went on in the house. Now this is the way they flex their muscle.
But see, my thing is, if you always trying to practice communication, you shouldn't. That's another form of holding something back.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
Right.
If you ever find yourself to the point of feeling some type of way, you need to get it out. That's what that means. That means holding it in is messing up your insides.
Yep. And I say with that, that's how bitterness is built.
Right.
Because you hold it in, and it's just like a sour fruit. Right. So you have the apple, and then after a while it spoils, and then it becomes bitter. That's what happens when you keep things in and you don't let it out. Eventually it turns into something bitter. So when it's time for you to, like, say, communicate that, you can communicate that in a better way. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah.
I agree with that. We come off kind of too aggressive, and then the woman is like, where did all that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Now that's an argument over a couch. That's pointless.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Waste of time.
I remember in one relationship I was in before, this is when I knew I had to leave. Right? We was on FaceTime, and I went into the bathroom, and in the bathroom you have a light switch and then you have the vent switch.
Yeah.
Right? So I turned off the vent switch. And the girl made a comment about the lights. And I was like, well, that wasn't the lights. I was turning off the vent switch.
No way.
You didn't have to say that. You always trying to be smarter than me. I could have guessed that.
Insecurities at that point. Yeah.
I'm like, bruh, it was just a vent switch. I'm not trying
in your bathroom.
In my bathroom. I'm in another whole city.
Oh, Lord.
You want to argue about no. That's when I decided I won't argue no more.
Right.
That is so pointless to me. When whatever really is bothering you, because it's not the vent switch in the bathroom.
Of course it's not.
Whatever really is bothering you to make you want to fuss at me about a vent switch, you need to be telling me that.
Right.
That's what we need to be going back and forth about or talking about or whatever, not that. So if I find myself arguing about those stupid situations, that's when I'm like, okay, nah, it's something else going on.
Something beyond that point. Yeah.
Something beyond that.
So also avoiding, I put down, as well as challenging. So, you don't want to avoid certain things that makes you frustrated. As far as when it comes down in a relationship, try not to avoid it. Try to deal with it. Right. Even though you're disagreeing, right? Or you just know this is going to cause an issue. I don't want to do this. Try not to avoid it. That's why we should have communication, and when you find a way to try not to avoid it, just learn the texture or tone that you need to convey the message to the individual. I put challenging. Now, I remember a lot of times where I would challenge females and they would feel like they're threatened. One time I was told, "Are you the FBI?" I said, all because I asked a question. All because I want to challenge you to get better. I question your ideologies when it comes down to certain, let's say, ideal points, certain factors of life, even how you do certain things. Like, let me try to come up with an example real quick. So the only thing I can think about is how you raise your kids, right? So if I meet an individual and they have kids, I say, do you tell them you love them every day? Do you kiss them? Or I say, you don't kiss your child every day. I'm just using this as an example, right? Or you don't show them love. And this is why they seek your attention, because you need to learn how to, but why are you telling me that? I know to do that. First of all, if you knew to do that, then your child wouldn't be doing what they're doing. If you were hugging them and kissing them, they wouldn't always run to me to hug and kiss them when I see them. And then you feel that person your child loves me more than you. No, they just not receiving it from you, but they want to receive it, so they get it from me. So that's why they're coming. So I feel like sometimes challenge the individual, especially like with the social media. Put down your phone. Let's have a conversation. Stop posting stuff. Let's have a conversation. Because even if you read something on social media, you can hit me up and say, hey, you know what I just seen? And we can just go back and forth about that whole situation. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to throw that at you.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the whole thing about seeing stuff on social media and letting that spark the conversation is huge.
Yeah.
Because that has been a lot of conversation starters in my relationship.
Yeah.
I seen this meme and they said this and this and this and that.
Yep.
And then for me, I would bring about 2 or 3 viewpoints.
Yeah.
It could be this, I see it as this, and I see it, how do you see it?
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, well, I see, because now that I've brought you 3 and 4 and 5 viewpoints of it, you feel more comfortable to say whatever is the true way you're feeling versus what you think I want to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now we can actually have a real conversation based off of how you actually feel.
Right.
And then I can come in and say, I agree with that. I don't agree. I think this. I think that. And we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
Versus,
I love it.
I seen this today, and I feel like you would do this. You did.
That's too much.
That's too much.
That's
you
too
approach
much.
that.
You doing the most at that point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But even if you feel that way, start it off a little bit different.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? If you trying to get there, I think that I remember one time I was in the car with the individual, and we was basically broken up, and it was a song that came on, and I said that, yeah, you remind me of this song, and she was like, oh, you trying to call me and I said, listen, it's not that. I just believe that because the games that you played, yeah, I feel like this is how you are. And I said, you can't get mad at me because I'm telling you how I feel. I'm not cussing you out. I'm not calling you out of your name. I'm not hitting you across the head. I'm just letting you know.
Right.
Why? And this is one issue I have. Why can't I just say how I feel? If I'm not doing the most, why can I not convey how I feel to you? Are you mature enough to handle it? So you said this earlier, right? Some women feel as though that some women, emotions get in the way.
Yeah. And
I say the emotion statement is an excuse statement of lack of maturity. You get what I'm saying? So most women are, I'm all over the place. No, you just don't know how to handle this situation like a grown adult.
Right.
So you use your emotions as the excuse not to deal with the situation. So to go back, no, one more little button. Oh, no. One more little button there. Hold on. Okay. Coming back. Right. I'm over here. Dwayne, tighten up. Coming back. That's what I feel like the challenge comes in. You get what I'm saying? To challenge by just letting them know how you feel and tell them, listen, don't come with your emotions with the situation. Deal with it head on first. You get what I'm saying? You got anything to say with that?
Yeah, I do actually. And okay. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. When it with the emotions, I told my wife when we first started dating that one thing I did not want to do is deal in emotions.
Gotcha.
Because in the beginning, that can be dangerous to me.
Yeah.
I want us to deal in reality. The reality is I could go out and cheat.
Yeah.
The reality is you could go out and cheat.
True.
And nobody is above that.
Right.
The reality is this could be the best relationship we've ever been into if we put forth the effort.
Right.
You know, it's so many things that can go wrong that I feel like people try to run away from until it's too late.
Yep.
Let's approach this stuff.
Right.
Everything. Right. The romantic side, the hardships, how you raise these kids versus how I do, everything that could go wrong in the future, let's deal with it right now from the jump. If you say this is the relationship you want.
Yeah.
If we just having fun, we don't have to talk about nothing. But if we trying to be in a relationship or anything, let's have these conversations now and continue to talk about it versus something goes wrong. Now we don't know what to do, or now you emotional, and I'm like, where's this coming from? Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If we had that conversation early, I would know where it's coming from.
Right.
I would know and I know how to now to navigate and deal with these situations.
Okay.
To where a lot of stuff I be dealing with in my relationship, my wife be like, but I ain't even think about that. I know you didn't. But I thought about it 2 years ago when you told me this was a struggle area for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now this situation came up and we was able to breeze right through it. And where we've been together now, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years, 0 arguments.
That's what's up.
And don't plan on having none.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So eventually, if you work on it in the interim, later on, there won't be as much needed deep conversations.
Right.
Now you begin to enjoy life at that point where you all are gelling together.
Right.
Like far as my pastor and his wife, they dealt with their issues, let's say in the beginning, or their different type of stages of their relationship. They dealt with it in the interim. Now when they talk, it's like it's jelly.
Right.
It's just mushing together. Like they are a complete sandwich, and you get a good enjoyment for them. And I watched that through certain or different relationships I have, different marriages I have seen, or just relationships. They have been together for so long that they can finish each other's sentence. They know how each other are thinking. So their arguments are not like so intense where, you come inside of the house and furniture, it looked like a dog ransacked there or a robber came through it. You get what I'm saying? But they have grown to that point because they dealt with the issues in the interim of their relationship, or they just had the conversation. So now the rest of their relationship is a breeze. It's just that it's calm, cool, and collect. You be like, dang, y'all. I want to be like y'all.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I think it comes from the simple fact of building from the interim. I put down also as well attaching, defending, and blocking. So you want to feel the attachment comes from what you relate on, and then how you can steal from that. The defending is don't be so defensive in the conversation. Just have the conversation, right? And then blocking. So by you being defensive, I didn't say that, and no, you did. That's the point where the lying comes in, right? Because you're trying to avoid the conversation. So you say, I didn't say that, and no doggone well, you said what you said. So I believe these are the elements of having conversation, also as well as you take a turn, I take a turn. Get your full thought out, I'm going to get mine. And then build the context, have a point of reference, and well as concluding how we're going to resolve the situation. And from there, you should be able to have a meaningful conversation continuously, like my own baby brother said.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to get to the point of, like, you're not even dealing with it later on in life. So before I end the show, I'm going to let my brother do his spiel, and then we're going to end it afterwards. So anything you want to say, bro, go ahead and let him have it.
It was basically just piggybacking off the last thing you said. And I think another important thing is to establish the intentions behind the conversation.
I love it.
In the beginning of the conversation. Right. So when we talk, if we're about to have a conversation, I'm not here to attack you.
Yes.
Always keep reminding them, if you know that they will take it offense, or maybe they're not mature or something, or anything like that, let them know, listen, I'm having this conversation for us to come to a solution. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not trying to make you feel like less of a woman or a man or whoever you're talking to. I'm not trying to deal with any of that. I just want us to come to a solution so we can fix what's wrong and then move forward.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then now you move into a situation where, the other day, this happened, you did this. Why was that your response versus doing something like this? That allows her to, instead of being defensive, she can explain herself. You get what I'm saying? Now she has to talk. It can't be no, oh, my bad. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, no, that's not what I need to understand why. You went this route. Why did you go this route? Well, I did that because, well, you could have went this route. You could have did this. Oh, I didn't think about that. Right. Now maybe this is something she was never introduced to.
Right.
Versus if you would have came fussing, you would never get down to those root problems that really need to be dealt with. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So to conclude, basically having a conversation is like traveling to a destination with a map. No GPS or anything to point you in the right direction. You and your partner basically will have to get to the destination, and the only way that you'll be able to do it is through communication. Yeah. If you want to have a successful relationship, the conversation has to be had. Not just the relation. So I'm going to take it to this point. When you think about it, you all can relate that the car looked good, the car is clean, right? The bill is paid, the gas money is there. But now you have to go a little bit deeper in order to get to your destination. So with the conversation that has to be had, because you got to travel, right? You're going to get there through the communication. And as you hit the hiccups throughout, or the road bumps, as you go through your go to your destination, you will build a certain type of confidence with the person that you're with. Right. Whereas when you get to the finish line or the destination, it would have been a breeze. So I think we need to go back to how to get to that communication, or how to get to the conversation, by taking away a lot of stuff. I even want to add this in there too. Sometimes we just need to have a sit down at the dinner table with nothing else added. Just a plate of food and us communicating, conversing, right? In order to build something. So again, I appreciate my brother for coming out. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you, J-Clef.
Yeah, it was good
bro,
to be here, man.
I love you for being here. And for everyone out there, please subscribe, like, drop a comment in our description. Drop a comment in the comments below on our YouTube. Check us out. We have our information. Of course, my brother information will be out there for you all to locate him. And again, I'm your boy DP. This is my brother J-Clef. We are Geminis Gemz. That's Geminis with the S. That's Gems with a Z. And what we do?
Drop them gems.
We drop them gems. And he did that.